He's mine! I'll take it!
This is no... Over there! There's one of them vermin! Mine!
How long must I wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir. How long is it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year?
Good evening, and goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening.
You always knew the words to calm the children. As for me, so many blundering idiot. Still not coming. Really sure we're making a difference.
Goodbye, nurse.
But no less dangerous.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Steady, boys, we've got one of them. Killing's all you deserve. You leeches been killing.
Shit, that leech is off!
You leeches been killing. Hey, leeches! Die, kids! You leeches been killing. I'm killing!
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
Not a safe place. Right now, sir.
A leech! A leech!
I'll kill you! This one's mine! I hate leeches.
In this letter, Mortimer... Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
Ain't safe here for a gentleman.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are related. Those two have hidden their affections well. Goodbye.
Die, vermin!
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair, while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reid. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I'm really sorry, sir. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reid. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
I have made inquiries about the men who were tracking you, Miss Howcroft.
I did not expect a mortal to have this sort of courage. Speak, Doctor. Why are they hunting me down?
It was a misunderstanding. These hunters were in fact looking for a very different creature, but they mistakenly put their sights on you.
I knew it. I have become undone. Those hunters have discovered me, but they don't know what I'm capable of.
If you'll accept some advice from a petty mortal, I think you should assume a low profile and just quietly disappear into the shadows.
You are right. And you have served me well, mortal. Take this as a reward for your time. Perhaps I will allow you to drink deep of my blood. One day.
Thank you. I'll keep that proposition in mind. I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reid.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reid.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reid. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reid. Reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that captain fella.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins, but are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke, but we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
You realize your son could try to kill himself again. He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer. Don't you share her hope for a better future?
No. I don't.
Won't you even try?
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to tell her the same thing? I could, but it would not change anything.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reid.
Don't waste your time with me.
I'm quite busy.
Going to reveal all your secrets to me. Even the darkest thoughts in your heart. Giant more disguised as a
They belong to you now.
the life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
Too much energy for so little result.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reid.
Good.
The pain. There again.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Goodbye. Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create... a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reid? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reid. That's all I'm asking.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reid. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reid. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reid. You don't know what that means to me.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted
How
formula
long
would
must I
deliver
wait,
more
damn
of
it?
a
Blaming me
placebo
will not
effect.
further your agenda, sir. How long's it going to take to fix me?
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reid.
Do you think Dr. Strickland has any chance of curing the Spanish flu by himself?
His wish to cure the sick is not driven by pride, but by an idealistic view about our mission here. Honestly, I don't know which is worse.
You consider him a good practitioner, yet you will not report his methods.
Strickland may be a rival, but I will not use dirty tricks or regulations to prove him wrong. We are doctors, not politicians.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
Did you know Dr. Aykroyd never reported your experimental research, despite the fact he doesn't agree with it?
Really? I didn't suspect he knew about my work. I must confess I am surprised.
Perhaps he thinks you should realize for yourself the danger of what you're doing.
See how condescending he can be? My God, he can be so irritating.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reid.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. Any news about my operation?
Enough. I was... Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later. Thank... Good evening.
And good evening.
Goodbye. Good evening, Doctor.
And
Goodbye.
Goody.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. I'm sure that during your lifetimes, you... that no one
Good. Goodbye.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
What news, Jonathan? I've heard you've now joined the vampire elite of London.
Did Elizabeth tell you?
So it's Elizabeth now. My. Things are moving quickly. I turn my back for a moment and away you go.
I may have found the source of the contagion. Doris Fletcher, the actress. Thankfully, in the end, she was destroyed by fire.
Really? Oh, please, do tell me more.
Doris was a heavily mutated Skal. Almost a new breed entirely. It's as if the disease had completely altered her mind and body. Highly contagious.
As if the disease had taken control of her will?
Yes. Once a beautiful and brilliant woman, she became motivated by hate alone.
Oh, she was a beauty. I met her when she visited the hospital to cheer up the sick. Too bad the fire destroyed her. But it was probably for the best.
Have you heard of similar cases?
No, I don't think so. Except, perhaps, it reminds me of an old report from the Brotherhood. Well, more an article, really.
What was it about?
The author, a friar, referred to a rare form of contagion in a Skal he observed during the Black Death. The carrier was always female. They called them Icors.
Have you seen Lady Ashbury recently?
Yes, she popped in yesterday. Told me about your new friends in the West End.
Just a courtesy visit, then?
Yes. And no. She was en route to the docks, I think, following a lead concerning your maker.
How's the situation at the Pembroke?
We're still holding out. Question is, for how long? What we really need is hope, Jonathan. Hope for a better tomorrow.
I'll come back later. Thank you, Edgar.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Doctor. Good. Good evening.
Good evening.